Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Biased Podcast. My name is James, and this is Real Biased Gaming, and with me today is JCexe. What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. What's going on, RBG?
Hey, dude. It's good to have you. Good to have you here, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff from our gaming past to some current gaming news, as we are like to do on the Real Bias Podcast. JC, would you introduce yourself as a streamer, as a gamer? Where can we find you online?
You can find me on my stream at JCexe over on Twitch, and then I also have a YouTube channel that slowly but surely gets videos uploaded once in a while because I'm too busy streaming. And with YouTube being the way YouTube is, it's hard to find the time. And knowing that you don't really get a lot of views right now, it's coming. It's coming. So and that's also youtube.com as well with /channel/JCexe. Easy to find me. No one has my name other than me.
There you go. Isn't it nice having a unique name?
It is nice. It is really nice. I don't have any 2 4 5s or 6 9s or
yes.
Yeah,
420 or
exactly. I don't have to do any of that. It's just JCexe done. Google search works.
There you go. What about Twitter?
Twitter. You can also find me on Twitter at EXE_JC because it decided to reverse it on me. I don't understand the Twitter too well, but that's a good way to keep an eye on some updates I like to throw out in case I need to cancel or change things around.
Okay, yeah, there you go. And my name is James, Real Biased Gaming, twitch.tv/RealBiasedGaming, youtube.com/RealBiasedGaming, and twitter.com/RealBias. Couldn't get the ED on there at the end. So Real Bias there on Twitter. All right, so JC, why don't you tell us, start off with a little bit about your stream? Like, what have you been playing this past week, dude?
The past week, it's been a mix of, well, today we did Stellaris. Stellaris is a fun one to do with a group of friends and viewers. Mm-hmm. And
how many people are you playing Stellaris with?
Right now, just 3, but since Stellaris is pretty lenient, you can bring in almost as many as you want. It's a very flexible game for an RTS.
Cool.
So
can you actually have like 8-player co-op or something like that?
Oh, yeah. And you can backstab each other, too, if you feel like it.
Oh.
There's the reason I'm drawn to Stellaris is because of diplomacy. Out of all the RTS games I've played, especially with that many people that can be involved, diplomacy is really interesting.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. No, that was my follow-up question. It's like, what kind of keeps you going back to Stellaris? They had an update pretty recently, right?
I don't have any of the DLC, but yeah. The cool thing about that, though,
really?
is if your friends do and they host the game, you get their DLC.
Oh, man. Isn't Paradox is becoming the true good guys of gaming, and especially of just strategy, right? They're reviving the whole thing. I love it. They published BattleTech, actually.
Oh, they did?
Well.
I did not do that.
Yeah. So they're just, man, good for them.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. A lot of people playing it.
Well, that's good. Okay, so Stellaris today. What about this past week? Anything else? Like, what are some of your... Do you have, like, go-to games, or...
Some of my go-tos will be Black Desert Online. I have a pretty high-level character. It's an MMO, so when I play on that, I usually get viewer based on the fact that I play a particular class that's not too popular. So when people see it on the Twitch feed, they're like, "Oh, this guy's playing a ninja. Let's hop in and ask some questions because I want to play that class too." And since no one really plays it, it's hard to get feedback and see what a high-level ninja can do. And other games, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, let's see. We're planning to do a Worlds Adrift stream soon, and then Monday nights we've been doing D&D on Tabletop Simulator.
Awesome. How many people, how long have you been doing that, and how many people are involved in that?
Well, we've just started doing it, so we've only had one session. That was last week, and tonight we'll be having our next session. And we have about, let's see, we got myself, we have our DM, we have our bard, we have our paladin, we have our warrior, and we have a very estranged sorcerer at the moment.
Awesome. Dude, that's sick. Well, there you go. And you just started. Okay, so a perfect time for people to jump in and take a look.
Yeah, and at some point...
Every Monday, you say?
Oh, yeah, every Monday right now. And like I said, if you're following on Twitter, I will update if there's any cancellations for whatever reason.
All right. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so you kind of... You play a lot of Black Desert Online. That's kind of like your core game.
For now,
then it sounds like you do a lot of co-op with viewers as well. Rainbow Six, Stellaris, other such fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the D&D thing as well. Dude, I love it. The hustle, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm a little all over the place. It's a variety stream.
No, that's the best way to do it. Absolutely. Hey, man.
I do feel the development's slower when you do it that way, but I feel that when you actually get that core set of viewers in a variety stream, they stick around.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just do one game and that's it, soon as you swap games, it's dead.
Yes,
Your
and
chat's dead.
I have seen that. I have seen that multiple times, or I've seen people, good friends of mine, that kind of get themselves stuck into a corner. You know, they kind of lock themselves into a game because of that. Exactly, and they're like, well, you know, I got partnered, or I'm making, you know, X amount of money from the stream, and you know, and so I kind of. You know, this is the game that I owe all my success to, so I kind of can't leave. It's like, man,
and
that's rough.
And that was kind of starting to happen to me with Total War Warhammer and the Total War franchise. I was getting sick of the game. You get to the point where you just know the game like the back of your hand, and you get bored. Or you have viewers that I had from Total War that'll stick around for Total War. And even some of the longtime viewers are like, this game's boring now. You just do the same thing over and over again. It's like, yeah. I like Total War, love Total War games, but it's just that's their AI doesn't change every series, and they're coming out with new games. Like you got Bretonia coming out. Speaking of which, you gonna be getting that?
Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm still sitting here 2 days before launch, and I haven't fully decided if I'm going to commit or not. I don't know.
I won't be personally because I have Attila too, and they're using the same assets from Attila, and they have Age of Charlemagne, which is essentially Bretonia.
There you go. Yeah. I've heard some real biased opinions of that same ilk before from a couple
you
of
just
streamers,
plugged your
actually,
name. Oh. It's like when a movie says the title in one of their scenes.
Dude, have you never watched my stream? We're talking about the real biased opinions.
I know.
All the time. So JC, I'm really interested. You know, I like to talk about, you know, when I was 6 years old and I played Duke Nukem 3D or the original Doom or Wolfenstein. Oh my gosh, Castle Wolfenstein, the original, the old one. You know, with my dad, and right. I would press the control button, which would be fire, and my dad would do the movements, and like that was some of my favorite gaming memories. You know, kind of how I first got started playing
some keyboard co-op
playing video games. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, dude, classic. But I'm wondering, you know, what's some of your gaming history? What are some of the great gaming moments in JCe's
some of my
life?
Some of my earliest memories was with my first Nintendo, the very original Nintendo, right? That was my first console I ever owned. And Mario I had fun with, but it didn't quite capture me like Ninja Turtles did because you could do a co-op with that game. And I was addicted. That was like the first real co-op addiction I've ever had, was playing the Ninja Turtle game. It was just so cool that you could have a friend, you just do this fighter game together, and you just go through the levels, and you're just like picking up the what do you call them, the manholes, and then just using them as frisbees to attack all the what are they called, the foot troopers. What was their names?
I don't remember. I was never a big TMNT guy. So
whoever's listening will definitely correct me and make fun of me.
Okay. For the bad guys.
Yeah.
Throw them at the bad guys.
Foot Clan.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what they're called, Foot Clan, I think.
There
But yeah, and then one of the biggest games that I followed was GoldenEye. Played GoldenEye 007 forever, and then you got Odd Job, and then slapping people around, and all sorts of game modes. And then you had the copycat games that came out after that. Like there was another version. What was it called? Forget it. There was also my first PlayStation. The reason I ever bought a PlayStation, Final Fantasy VII, and the reason I ever bought an Xbox was the first Halo. So
Oh, wow. You bought the console for the game.
For the game.
Okay, so now how did you get your gaming information? Who told you those games were good?
Oh, I played them at friends' houses. Or for Halo, I think it was a commercial, and I was just like amazed that the AI was so incredible with the graphics, and that the AI, like the regular soldiers, like one thing that impressed me about Halo and that stood out in my mind when I was that young when it came out was the AI soldiers that were on your team weren't worthless. I mean, they were weak, but they could actually kill things, and you don't normally see that in video games where the AI can help the protagonist at least a little bit.
Yeah. That's funny. Dude, yes, I remember so many missions. I remember some of my buddies like trying to like get the other Marines killed and like actually being mad about that. You know, we're like playing co-op because that's what you do. You play Halo co-op, obviously, and then I just be like so stunned, like what? Hey, those are our buddies. Just like they don't matter. They don't do anything anyways.
That's not true. Oh man, I made it like a point to try and save as many Marines as possible in certain levels.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Same here. I mean, but yeah, for the time they were so good, and I mean, and that was what was so ambitious about Halo 2 is that they could drive. Remember that?
Exactly.
That was like they flaunted that.
They started to lose their charm when you played on Legendary, though.
Yes, it's true.
They didn't scale very well.
You pretty much just have to rely on yourself for that one. Yeah, I know. You'd think they'd get like some kind of health boost or something just to keep them alive. Because they would on Legendary, they're dead in the first firefight.
Yeah, they're just boom done.
But I mean, I never played on Legendary when that game first came out. So I was a oh my gosh, do you want to try heroic? Like, no, dude, I actually want to have fun today. It's like, oh, okay, we'll just do normal.
Maybe I was just a masochist, but I really enjoyed Legendary because it forced me to take cover and things like that and play more tactically.
Yeah, no, makes sense. I don't think I ever was too interested in like working really hard. I wanted to experience the game, and to me, and I'm still this way to this day. Like, I want to experience a game, but usually that means like moving through the game at a pretty decent clip, not like dying a whole bunch of times at the same spot and like figuring out.
Well, sounds like I can't convince you to play Dark Souls with me then.
Well, I played Dark Souls 3. Actually, there's a command on my live stream: !deaths, and it will tell you. I have viewers that will randomly pull that one up.
That's funny.
It will tell you that I died 515 times playing Dark Souls 3.
Good thing you didn't turn that into a drinking game.
Yeah. Yes, that would be super dead. Yeah, that was an experience, but I beat it. I don't know how, and it does kind of go against some of my personal opinions, I guess you could say, on how I enjoy video games. But there were some other really compelling parts to Dark Souls that kept me going in that game.
Okay, cool.
So yeah. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the Dark Souls remaster because I would like to play through it, just because some of those compelling reasons are I love the world. I think it's a glorious and beautiful and detailed and terrifying world with an incredible story around it and around every single monster in the game, and plus the RPG system is so deep, and you don't always find great RPG number systems.
Mm-hmm. And so it's mysterious.
Really yes.
The story is mysterious, and they kind of intertwine with each other per game.
Yes.
Bringing out all these fan theories.
Oh, dude, it both sparks my imagination and really frustrates me, because I'll be the first to tell you that, like, I do think that the storytelling in Dark Souls is absolute garbage.
Yeah, it just leaves you lost.
And I will, step up to anybody that says otherwise, because you don't get the story from playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You have to go watch YouTube or this was my argument. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm all into this now. The Dark Souls. What frustrated me always about Dark Souls, when I finished it, I like spent days and days after I beat Dark Souls 3, like pondering this. I puzzled till my puzzler was sore. The Dark Souls, in my mind, there are two different kinds of categories for gamers. Okay, well, there's several more, but two of the categories in my mind are the hardcore combo focused, zero hit run sort of gamers, right? That play Dark Souls for the challenge, or play a bunch of other games, like there's bullet hell games or the speed run things or what, and they don't take any damage. They find the way to do a game. They play a game. They get their enjoyment from playing a game in a completely different way than the game was ever intended. Right? But that's really cool. But yeah, I mean, you go and watch Summer Games Done Quick is going to be coming up here in the next couple months. And then back in January was Awesome Games Done Quick. I don't know if you ever watched those, but like the giant speed running 7 days, 24 hours straight of speedrunners playing like every single speed runnable game out there.
I haven't watched that.
Like, the Half-Life.
But I have seen Mario. Mario impresses me. Like when I see that get the
Yes.
speed run.
Yeah. And like, but even Mario, to some extent, it does encourage, playing the game extremely well, right? But like, I think of a game like Half-Life 2, where dudes have figured out how to beat the game in like 45 minutes.
It's
like
crazy.
Like you start the game up and you do all these different things, and you slide through a wall over here that you're not supposed to go through, and you jump to this objective, and it's incredible. It's an incredibly skilled thing to be able to do. Some of the stuff that they have to do, they have to work so hard on it, but they just skip the entire game. And to me, it's like, okay, well, that's right. That's not Half-Life 2 anymore. That's something else. Mm-hmm. So there's a category of gamers like that, and there's a different category of gamers that enjoy the process, and I identify more with this. I think it's probably a smaller category than sometimes I'd like to think, but gamers that like really play games for the experience, for the story, for the world, for the lore. Like they read every single book, in Skyrim or whatever. They go around because they want to learn about this world. And they want to learn about their character. They want to learn about other characters. They want to try all the different story endings because they want to see, all the different ways that a story or that their character can go through this game. And so to me, Dark Souls. So I'll wrap up my point. Here we go. We're coming back.
Back to Dark Souls.
Yeah. So the point here is that, to me, that Dark Souls has this story and this world and this lore that is for the latter, right? The latter kind of gamer, the story focused, right? The lore hounds. That it has all the story for them, but it's not a game for them. The game is designed for the hardcore, no hit run type people, right? I mean, I can't tell you the number of people that love Dark Souls that I've talked to, just like random gamers, not streamers, not YouTubers, anything. That just like, oh yeah, I've tried a no hit run, I've made it this far or whatever. Just like people that just do that just because they're internally motivated to test themselves against the difficulty of the game. And that has always frustrated me, right? Because I'm a gamer that likes experiencing story and lore and the world, and that Dark Souls essentially has those things for me, but to get to them, I have to be a different kind of gamer.
Right.
There we go. So that's kind of my point. It's like the game is there's a hidden away part of the game that is very much designed for me, but only other players who enjoy games for different reasons, they're the ones that actually get to experience that. Because I'm never gonna play Dark Souls 3 again. Probably never. Right? Because there's nothing, like, I don't want to play New Game Plus. I experienced the whole game, I don't want to just bash my head against bosses for no reason, at least before it was, the reason was to try and finish the game.
Yeah. And I just got into New Game Plus. It's actually pretty funny because with Dark Souls games, they don't really help you along at all. And if you I quit the game for a good amount of time, and when I come back to it, it's really hard for me to motivate myself again because it's like, well, what was I doing? There's no direction. Like, what boss did I kill? Where's the next boss?
Exactly.
Where do I go? I'm so confused. And I was streaming it last week because a few of the guys wanted to play it with me, and I have like this level 80 character, and I'm like, all I remember is killing the dude on the dragon and the giant spear. I think the Nameless King is what he was called or something. And,
was it the wind dude?
Yeah, the guy who like rides on a dragon, and he like, it's really,
that sounds right.
My favorite fight probably.
Yeah, that was a sweet fight.
And one of my viewers was helping me figure out where I needed to go next. And it turned out I was literally 2 bosses away from beating the game. I just beat the game in like the first hour of streaming. Yeah. It. I'm like, oh, well, there's that. Started a bit of New Game Plus. Like, all right.
Yeah, you just have no idea. Yeah, that's interesting. There you go. But yeah, no, I like, that's the thing. Is I appreciate and respect Dark Souls, but a part of me is really disappointed that the way it's designed.
Yeah, to me, it's more like an artsy thing than a story thing.
But have you seen the YouTube videos though?
I've seen some of it, like all the theory crafting between like the different games and worlds in them, saying that these are actually the same worlds and these are the same people, and because of this reason and that reason, even though it's crazy. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. I watched once I finished it. I mean, I watched hours and hours of Dark Souls videos. They were amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I love how it's based on Berserk.
Yeah, and is it based on Berserk?
A lot of the art is a nod to Berserk, like the that one scene where you on Dark Souls 3 where you I forget the location. The opening scene is where you walk up. There's this nice like castle. It's very crystalline looking, and then as you walk through this bridge, behind you, a giant like alligator monster pops up behind you. That's a nod to the Berserk rage dog.
Oh, that's awesome. I haven't seen Berserk, but I've heard a lot about it. And I know exactly the part that you're talking about in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, I can't remember the name, but I know exactly the part.
They look very similar. If you look at that monster and then you look at the art for the Berserk, his like inner rage, that like demon dog thing.
Huh. That's cool. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so those connections. Obviously, the big old claymore swords.
Yes, of course. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But yeah, the lore is truly extensive, and every single boss has a story and a place in that world, and it's pretty amazing, and it's pretty intricate and deep, and you pretty much cannot get all of the coolness out of the story and the lore and the characters from just playing the game. And again, I see that from just playing the game, like, if you play it once or twice, like you literally have to play it like 30 times. Get all the different endings, do all the different routes, work with every single character, and complete every single one of the NPCs. I mean, and complete all their stories.
That part drove me nuts. Making sure you do things correctly and not accidentally cancel it out by going too far. Yeah,
because you can so easily accidentally do one part of the game, and then you cancel out the entire story for this one character that you were working with.
That was the other thing. I get back to the game after quitting for so long. I'm like, what's this item do? I don't want to use it. I'm afraid I'm going to ruin the story. Or I'm not going to unlock something later.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, if you know you're not going to play the game through 10 more times, then you're so terrified because you're like, I want to get as much as I can out of the first run because I'm probably not going to get another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Okay. So that was a fun little rabbit trail. Always down to talk. I mean, Dark Souls is one of the greatest, series in gaming.
Yeah, it's still going.
Possibly of all time. Just the impressions that it's left and the markets it's made on gaming history, and so that's certainly a worthy conversation topic. But okay, really quick, what I've been actually streaming this past week is actually exclusively BattleTech. And speaking of Paradox and BattleTech, BattleTech has been a lot of fun. Have you ever played a MechWarrior game?
Yep, it was either 2 or 3.
Yeah,
ages ago.
Yeah, ages ago. I grew up playing on my parents' first computer. I remember my dad had to go. I couldn't. I don't remember exactly what this was. I don't know if because the computer had to start in DOS mode or something like that. I couldn't get on the computer because the computer would be turned off whenever you were done using it. You couldn't turn on the computer and just play.
Right.
I actually had to get my dad to start the computer up, and I literally to this day I don't actually remember. I should probably ask him what it was that he actually had to do to the computer so I could play MechWarrior.
He's like, plug it in.
In my mind, he got on there. He had to type in all this code at the system startup to get it to start in a
run command.
Run a command. Yeah, right. Where I could actually play MechWarrior 2, and I never knew what I was doing, and I never made it very far in the story because I never understood what the missions I was doing was. But it was so cool because MechWarriors are so cool, and I kind of let that burning passion die because I haven't touched really a MechWarrior game since MechWarrior 2. But then I found out about BattleTech a couple months ago and started getting really hyped for it. And have you ever played XCOM, JC?
Oh yeah, I got XCOM.
Yeah,
not the old.
So
one.
it's basically XCOM, but with MechWarriors.
Great. So 95% chance you're definitely gonna miss.
Yeah.
Your hit chance is 95%. Miss with a shotgun. And one coordinate away.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not quite so brutal all the time,
Right.
but it can be pretty brutal. There's been a couple random points where your cockpit, has its own armor value, and an enemy shot from across the map crits your cockpit, instant kills your pilot, and then that mech is down for the rest of the fight. And it's like, oh,
You're like, that happened.
yeah, that sucks. But it is interesting too because every single mech, is firing a minimum of two, if not like 10 different weapons. So, and each one has its own percentage chance to hit. So you're actually like guaranteed to hit
With something.
right? Yeah, something, right? And so that it kind of takes away a little bit of the feels bad, man. My sniper had a 98% chance to hit and it missed, so therefore it dealt 0 damage. It's like, well, okay, no, this dude has a 95% chance to hit with 8 different weapons. Like, I'm actually going to deal a lot of damage with this, guaranteed. Like, a couple lasers might miss, but like guaranteed. I'm gonna do a
Okay,
lot
so
of damage here.
that kind of keeps the action going then.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you wasted a round just missing someone, like you do in Mordheim.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, more time too. Exactly. And I have missed several melee attacks, and of course you only get one of those, so that's kind of a bummer. It's like, 95% chance to hit with melee, and I missed, and now my rear armor is exposed, and for no good reason. Darn. But no, what I love about it is the customization is incredible. I counted there are 38 different mech warriors or mechs that you can get in the game, and you get them from like playing the missions and then picking up the scrap from. So you like run and you're like, oh my god, what kind of mech is that? And you like look at it like, oh, I want that. And then after the mission, depending on like how you destroyed it or what parts of it you blew up, you'll get scrap afterwards. You need 3 pieces of scrap from that mech to be able to assemble that mech for yourself.
Okay, cool.
And so in a way it's kind of like, I've compared it to Pokemon, where you're like running around collecting all these mechs, and you run into a new one, and you're like, oh my god, what is that Pokemon? And then you try and catch it. It's like, okay, careful, like I don't want to knock it out, right? It's like, and you accidentally crit it, and then it just faints. You're like, crap, I really wanted that Pokemon.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it like adds this whole another layer, and then each one has different loadouts, like a different number of a base number of like you can only put 2 lasers on this one, but 0 autocannons, right? Or this one you can put like 5 missile slots on this one and 2 autocannons, but you can't put any lasers on it.
All right, I got a question for you. So
yeah,
when it comes to games like that, what's like the other meta to it? Like for example, Total War, you have the battle map, you got your soldiers, you upgrade them, you do whatever you need to do, and then you fight. And then you go back to the campaign map. Is there like a campaign map? Is there something you do?
Yes.
There?
Yeah, it's a galaxy map. This galaxy map, and you run a mercenary group, and so you have a ship that you fly around to different planets, and you fly into a planet, and then you see what contracts are there, and then the contracts will pay you different amounts, and they have different difficulties, and there's like 6 or more different mission types. I think there's more than 6 actually, and they have a whole bunch of different maps. And so then, and it's just basically, it's an excuse to go do a mission like in XCOM. Basically, you land your dudes and go do the mission. But
Can you upgrade the ship and stuff like that too that you fly around in?
You can. That part is not as awesome as I kind of hoped it would be. It's kind of like more like a point and click adventure. It's like okay, go from this drop down list. Like click here. It's like I'm gonna go into the engineering room or the mech bay, and you just click, and then it like loads up I'm a first person perspective. You like standing in. To me, it's not as cool as like as XCOM, where you actually get to like look into a cutout like part of your base, your underground base. Like I love that. I love that about XCOM.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really fun, and I really enjoy it too. And that's going on my wish list. Hold on a second.
That's going. Oh yeah,
throwing BattleTech on the wish list. I'll probably grab that if it goes on sale. Do it. That's a good. That's good. I really like that aspect of a game. I was worried it was just like battling and that was it.
Oh yeah. No, it's got a pretty decent. It has a good, an interesting enough storyline that pulls you along, and it's kind of interesting. They really encourage you to do the story missions. You don't have to, but like your average mercenary contract will give you like $500,000, but like the story missions will give you like 2.5 million, right? And so it's like you're really encouraged to go keep progressing the story forward as you're playing the game. And so it's good. It's got some optimization issues, and it's definitely slower than XCOM. It takes a little bit longer, both just the way the game is designed and because of some of the optimization issues. And like the game kind of, if you destroy an enemy mech, the game kind of like takes 2 seconds to register all the damage. And so you're just like, you're firing, and then you're just like staring at the mech for an extra 2 seconds, and then it's like, oh, then it blew up.
Right.
So like there's some stuff like that slows it down, but yeah, that's very good, and I do highly recommend it. And it's a Kickstarter game that was done very, very well by really passionate fans of the BattleTech universe.
Yeah, I always enjoyed Mech Warrior. I always thought it was really great when you like just start targeting certain parts of the mech and just blow them off, like their legs and their arms. That was one of the best things about that game back then, because it was so unique.
And it's very much what you get to do in this game as well.
Yeah, and like, when you go for the actual cockpit, it's usually like heavily armored. You're like, you know what? I think I'm just going to take him piece by piece.
Yes, yeah. I think you'll enjoy BattleTech. Let me know if you get it and you just start playing it, because
I will. I'll let you know.
Is good. All right, so that's what I'm streaming. Let's move on here to a little bit of gaming news, general gaming news. Enough about the past. Enough about our own personal streams, our personal lives. Yeah, let's talk a little about news. So, let me go through everything that I wrote down here just to get it all out, and let's pick this apart piece by piece. So, Destiny 2 Warmind comes out. Is it next week or 2 weeks from now?
I didn't look at the release date. I did have a look. I watched a video, and I was like, looks like more of the same.
Let's see. Release date. Let's confirm this here. We're sitting at computers. May 8th. Yeah, so it is next week.
Okay.
So May 8th. Now, we're going to go a little bit more meta here, as I've found it's pretty common to actually happen on this show. We don't generally go deep. We generally go wide. But Destiny, The Division, Rainbow Six, these are all games that kind of follow a similar kind of business plan, a similar approach to making their game. And in my mind, really only Rainbow Six has been the one that's seen true success, both in like numbers and just revenue. And I just want to talk about like, what is it that brings these games back? We have yet to see if Destiny 2 will actually come back. I know The Division did make a pretty significant comeback, and I believe they're planning The Division 2 is already in the works, if I'm not mistaken. And Rainbow Six Siege certainly was like a game that died and then was brought all the way back to being a real top force in gaming right now. And so yeah, tell me a little bit about your experience with Destiny 2. Let's start there. Talk a little bit about Destiny 2. What do you mean more of the same, and why does it disappoint you? Let's start there.
Well, I didn't play Destiny 1, so I'll get that out just real quick, because I know a lot of the outrage with Destiny 2 had a lot to do with the shader system and how it was subpar compared to Destiny 1. But
yeah. And I'm exactly the same way. I never got to experience Destiny 1, so I didn't have all the complaints that come with comparing the two.
Yeah, so I came in with like a fresh set of eyes, and I can see my own complaints clear as day, and that I'm sure the previous Destiny players had, as well as the content was serious lacking. It didn't take long to go through everything. Not long at all. Done deal. It maybe a few days, and that's it in casual play. Yeah. And then the DLC came out, and I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, no. And now you got this one, Warmind, coming out. I'm looking at that, I'm like, yeah, but why? Why would I play that? You haven't addressed a lot of your issues, and it's just more of the same. It's just more grinding. I want something that looks fun. I want some issues corrected that would bring the population back, and I don't think it's going to do that. Yeah. I wonder what's in the cards for Destiny. Or for Bungie, I guess, rather. But Destiny has always been, to me, it's very forward thinking. I really do believe that, and I don't have to. And I guess this is kind of the thing about like. Okay, let's see. How do I want to phrase this point here? Destiny to me is the future of gaming, and in some ways, the future is now. We do have several games kind of like this. I mean, The Division is very much like Destiny. I mean, essentially, it's a first-person shooter,
MMO, right? It has all these missions. It has this big world that you can run out and go into and do missions in different parts of it instead of just all these loading screens and in and out, and instanced play.
Is it really an MMO? Like, if you think traditional MMOs, is it really an MMO?
Oh no, man! Here it is again. I still haven't. I still need to work on my pure definition of MMO and JRPG. What is the true? What are the true factors in each that make them that way? To me, they absolutely are. Because to me, I guess one of the biggest things for me for an MMO is, can you run into other players out in the world? And if you can, to me, that's a real MMO.
Okay.
Because obviously you have multiplayer games, right, where you're playing with other players, but PUBG, Fortnite, those aren't MMOs. Right, they're just
yeah, but let's put it this way. I would argue PUBG is more MMO than Destiny 2 is MMO, simply because of the fact you can get a whole lot more people on one map on PUBG than you can on Destiny.
Yeah, but it's not about big numbers. It's just that's just an instant. All it is it's a round of multiplayer. That's all PUBG is. It's a round of Halo or Call of Duty multiplayer where you all load in at the start and you just play on a really big map.
Yeah, but that's what you do in Destiny. Oh, we got this event rolling up. Looks like people are starting to zone in, instance in. Let's do this map real quick. Or sorry, this quest or whatever it is.
Yeah, but technically you can be playing through the single player story. And run it, you can be really low level and run into something like that in Destiny 2. You can be out there farming something else. You can just be driving around, getting collectibles or something, and then that pops up and you run into other players and you're like, oh, I'm not interested in doing that instance right now. I'm doing my own thing over here, right? That is very different. In PUBG, there is no, oh, I'm doing my own thing, right? You're all playing a round of multiplayer. Whereas, just because, everybody can load into the same instance, sure. And obviously there are, dungeons and everything in Destiny as well.
Yeah, I think Destiny just does a really good job having the illusion of an MMO.
Yeah, well, and again, this is why I need to be able to have some very clear specifications. But my gut tells me Destiny 2 is an MMO, and I will certainly argue that PUBG is not an MMO. It's just a round of multiplayer. Yeah, no. It's a multiplayer lobby game. Which that's not a knock against it. It's just not an MMO. But oh no, man, you got me sidetracked. Now. Dang it.
I knew it. I had to do it though. Oh, the opening.
Yeah, it is an interesting discussion. So Destiny 2. Let's take this angle then. So for Destiny 2, again, if we're assuming that there is this kind of similarity, this sort of link between Destiny 2 and Rainbow Six Siege, not necessarily in gameplay or anything, but just it's more in approach, right? Where you build this sort of skull, this framework for a game, this place where a game can exist, and you release it as a $60 full game, and everybody plays in there there's nothing here, and then the everybody the population dies off because you can't possibly release content fast enough, if you don't have enough content from the get-go, which is the problem. I will say, as somebody who's watched MMOs come out since Warcraft.
Right.
And every single one of them has been content light. It actually constantly boggles my mind that there isn't a single good MMO that has come out that tries to battle WoW, that tries to battle World of Warcraft, and every single one of them has the exact same flaw. And for every single one of them, it is the flaw that drives people away so faster than anything else. Is that there's no content. There's no content. It actually boggles my mind that developers just don't. I don't understand why somebody hasn't said, "Hey, let's go in and make an MMO, but let's attack the problem that every single other failed MMO has had, and that is let's get lots of content available at launch."
Yeah,
maybe we should just try that.
Copying. They tried to copy WoW too hard too. It's like, hey, we're going to release a game that's just like WoW but with nothing in it.
Yeah, it's like, who thinks it's going to work? Even oh man, even my my baby Star Wars: The Old Republic.
That one hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's like, hey, let's spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars and make, millions of lines of dialogue, right? Spoken word, good actors, dialogue that we, and we'll put all that into our game, and that'll be our big thing. But like, well, there's no content, and so guess what? Like, all of your great dialogue and all your great acting like kind of goes to waste because you level up to max and then there's not much to do. Even for a player like me that loves the story and took their time playing through, and watched all the cutscenes and everything. It's like, well, you get to the end and you're like, okay, well,
right,
not a whole lot to do. But yeah, like how does Destiny 2 come back? What are they doing wrong with the? I mean, they're on their third DLC now, or is it second?
I think it's the third.
I think it's the third. Yeah. I think it's the second like big content DLC, but I'm pretty sure they've definitely had three. What do they have to do? Like what could be something that you think they could do? Destiny 2
for me personally, I really was enjoying their PvP while it lasted, and then I realized that there was only like maybe one gun you used, and that was it. And then they released another gun that had a huge controversy over. This is after I quit it. Was some sort of laser gun that they made, and it just vaporized everybody. And I think they toned that down. And I know that they've definitely been working towards better, more visceral PvP, balanced PvP. I don't know how much has changed as far as the items go, like meta-wise. Because it was literally just one gun. You used one gun. That's it. And if you didn't have that gun, you're at a disadvantage. And then one thing that drives me nuts about that game, and you look at Halo, because it's basically Halo. Halo Online is what that Destiny really is.
Yeah,
and you look at Halo in the melee, right? It's first person. In this game, it's third person, and it's a first person shooter. You know how obnoxious it is to hit a corner and have someone with that sword waiting for you while you're in first person because they were just wall peeking you. Like I quit games that are shooters that have third person because I don't like the wall peeking with the third person mode camera. I think it's ridiculous. You look at PUBG until they finally got first person only servers. It's just, what is it? It's you hide behind a tree, they hide behind a tree, and you sit there and you do this little dance trying to peek each other.
And then Fortnite like owns it, right? But it's definitely,
at least it's cartoony enough that you can tolerate it. If you make it more simulated, it becomes a real pain in the butt. And when you're playing elevation, like you're above somebody and you have that third person, no one's going to see you up there, and you have the huge advantage of shooting down on them and getting an easier headshot. So back to Destiny, you got the swords. I think those should be first person. You can pull out these swords even if they have no ammo. You just equip one without any ammo, go and peek walls, and once you see somebody, you pull your weapon out and then pop out on them. And there's that. It's content light. It came out content light. The shaders, they could have easily fixed that problem and just get rid of loot boxes. I'm so tired of loot boxes.
Yeah. We talked about that actually on the podcast last week. Or was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was a couple weeks ago now. With the loot boxes are being taken out of games. They're actually removing them from Shadow of War from last year, and also from Battlefront. They just took them all completely out. Like they added in microtransactions, but just like no more loot boxes at all.
Yeah, and I think that's one of their other problems is you put in these loot boxes, which are designed to be quote unquote convenient. So what you're really doing is you're just making the base game harder to progress through to encourage these sales. And that just makes people feel a grind. They don't want to buy your loot box, especially on Destiny 2. I don't care if I get a bright engram. There wasn't a single thing I got from that darn thing that I enjoyed.
Yeah. But it was so shiny when you turned it in.
I know. I was more interested in the legendary guns and stuff like that. I didn't want the bright engrams.
Yeah. To me, and I'll toss this out there. I remember playing the game, and which was really interesting because I feel like this really contributed to their lack of content. I feel like they overcompensated because the leveling process to get to max level, obviously not to get to max, getting to max light level took a little bit more effort, but to just get to max level and make it through like the main story and explore all the zones and everything, it took me like 10, maybe 12 hours. I just remember it going so fast, and I'm like, wait, why?
Oh, and
I was like, you know what? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, Bungie, you could have made the leveling process and this whole, like, you could have dragged this single player story out to make it 4 times longer.
Oh yeah,
and I would have had fun.
Right?
It would have been like, I mean, it would have, it's at least it would have just been something else to work through. Or maybe like, even if you were done with the main story by level 10, right? You finished all the main story stuff. It's just like, and then you had to actually go out and like do other missions and grind and stuff to get to max level. Or they had some kind of leveling process, kind of like BDO, right, where you kind of hit like 2 or 3 different experience walls where your experience is dropped down 60% and then 80% and then 98%.
Yeah,
right?
well, you're going through the end game.
Right, and so you're actually still gaining experience and leveling up. So you could, at this point for Destiny 2, you could still have people that are like level. Well, what was their max level? 20 or 25?
I think it was
this one.
I think they raised it, and that was the other thing that got huge. One of the biggest reasons they had so many people have a mass exodus was that first DLC raised the level cap, so the people who did not have the season pass or DLC could not play with their friends because they were gated off by DLC.
Oh my god.
So that was a huge issue and why so many people quit. I just remember that. But to go back to why I think we can fix the game, it just dawned on me. You have to remember, this is basically Halo, right? Yeah. What are things they have so much content that they didn't use from Halo that they can use? When was the last time you rode in a tank in Destiny? When was the last time you flew in something in Destiny? When was the last, you know what I mean? If you look at all the multiplayer maps in over in Halo, and like Warsong Gulch, like the first Halo, I still remember the name of it. Like, it's memorable. It was fun. You had the warthogs, you had the plasma grenade, you had all this stuff you could do and capture the flag. What do you do in multiplayer PvP in Destiny? It's just kill each other. You don't capture the flag. I mean, they kind of have some different varying game modes.
Well, you have control points.
Yeah, you control points, and it's very basic. And I think part of that problem is they're trying to push an esport agenda, and I also think part of the problem is that they... just like many MMOs, they're copying World of Warcraft's progression that I quit. The grind instance over and over and over again just so you can get that small bit of gear every time from the same instance.
Interesting. Disappointing.
You just sit and like I said with World of Warcraft, what happened was they eventually just made it so you queue up and you sit in a hub all day. You didn't go out in the world and experience anything. You didn't. Yeah, there's so many facets that I think are copied in our MMO genres from World of Warcraft are reasons why I quit World of Warcraft, and then they copy it, and some of that's in Destiny.
Right. If you're going to do instance, I mean, I guess that's the thing. We can jump into Rainbow Six, right? It's like as a game, obviously there's zero exploration. There's no single player storyline. There's no world to explore out there. But it's just instanced. But they actually they made an incredibly unique, addictive, different kind of instanced gameplay, and so the instance part is what is so much fun, and what makes the game so successful is that they did that. Mm-hmm. And all their DLCs revolve around giving you like different ways to interact with their already set up like instanced levels and everything. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting. It is so funny to me, thinking about that. It's like Destiny, you didn't make... You tried to make, like, 2 games, right? You tried to make, like, a PvP game and a PvE game and kind of, like, stick them together.
Yeah, and they didn't do either one right. And you can look back at their history. All their Halo games are so much more innovative. They have all this content. It's not like they're going to do any copyright strikes. It's their own game. So they're literally just copying... They just need to copy more of their own game. And put it into Destiny.
Well, I wonder... Yeah, I wonder how much... Because, I mean, 343 Industries now owns, like, all the Halo stuff. So I wonder how the contract works there.
Oh, okay, so maybe there is a little bit of conflict. I don't know. It's interesting. Because it is Halo. It's really what it is. And there's so many things that's missing that you can pick up from Halo that is not in Destiny. And it's just... Once you realize it, you're like, wow, if they just did this from Halo... they'd be better off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's safe to say there's going to be there can be a lot more discussion about this topic, and not only that, but probably discussion by people that are so much closer and so much more knowledgeable about the whole situation than us. We're just talking about it as as gamers, as streamers. We're not the dudes that are on the forums that have been with these games since beta and whatever, but we can certainly take a look and have an opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a hardcore Destiny fan.
Sure. Or maybe you're a little bit more hardcore about Rainbow Six, but I don't think either of us have really done too much in the Division. Have you played it at all?
Yeah, I went through all the content. It's basically similar problems as Destiny when it came out. There wasn't a lot of variety. Not a lot of variety in the PvE to fight, like in terms of your NPCs that you're fighting.
Sure.
The only thing that I think kept people for a while was the Dark Zone. The PvP in the Dark Zone was actually quite entertaining.
Yeah.
And then the content wall. There's no content. You get to a certain point and you're done. And a lot of people took issue with the bullet sponginess of the game. And I expected that. I saw that coming a mile away. So to me, it didn't bother me.
I've never worried about that. I've never had a problem with that. I think that's totally fine. But that's probably because I'm more like RPG turn-based strategy kind of person who, or like even RTS game, right? Age of Empires. You go and you watch Age of Empires 2. You have some like one of your epic like knights or cavalry or whatever like riding around. He gets hit with like 30. 80 freaking archer arrows before he actually dies. It's like that's never been a problem to me because to me it's all it's a video game, right? It's not literally real people, right? It's a digitized like just game of tag that we play with each other, right. that has like different rules and mechanics that work around it. And so that kind of thing has never bugged me, but
yeah. So I thought it was kind of cool. There's a few things that I could pick on as well. One of the biggest ones that really bothered me, because I'm kind of sick of this, is their E3 trailer for when they first announced the Division was absolute hot garbage of lies. Like they were selling this impression that you would be able to go in this open world and find guns and stuff like that as you explored. In reality, they had a video where I don't know if you remember the E3 trailer for the Division, where they go in this police station. They clear it out. They rescue the hostages inside there just by happenstance of showing up there. It's not like an incident. It seems like it was something in the open world. And then they go in, and then there's like this gun case sitting there, and they open it up, and there's like this wonderful looking gun inside. You see the character open it up. You see the gun in the case. They pull out the gun. They're looking at it. It looks really cool. And in reality, what is it? What's the game actually? You go, you kill stuff. These things light up on the ground. You pick it up. It's RNG.
Yeah.
And you don't actually go around finding loot per se. It's just random loot drops from killing enemies. It was completely BS, and the map that they played on, that little police station or that little area, did not even exist in the actual game.
Of course.
So I kind of tired of the lies, and with the announcement of Division 2, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it's gonna be a lot of the same.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and I think that's to kind of close out the topic here, to kind of round it all up. I think it's fair to say. Again, building off of we're not experts, but we are gamers. We have played all these games,
and we know we're being lied to.
and I think it's fair to say that we don't like this kind of approach to game development.
Yeah,
right. Maybe you could sing a few praises about Rainbow Six. I feel the exact same way though about Rainbow Six personally, is with all the DLC, and actually they pissed me off a couple months ago because they started. I was reading this news article about how they started to see big numbers come back in because they have so much content now. They've released so many DLCs and there's so much for the game in Rainbow Six Siege. And then they increased their price by 33% because so many people were getting into their game. After the game's been how long has it been out for now? 3 years? Mm-hmm. 2 years, 3 years?
Something like that. And they played around with it for sure.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, people are actually getting into our game because we've actually made it not suck. Now let's do something really shitty and increase the price.
Another thing. This is going to be for both the Division and Rainbow Six. Have you noticed Ubisoft has a nice little trend where you get one game, but later on they shove the loot boxes in later?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rainbow Six has loot boxes, and that's been around for a while now. Actually, I call it the loot box and a loot box, because what you literally are doing is you grind out that loot box and you finally get one. It's called an alpha pack. Then you open the alpha pack to get a card, which is basically your loot box. So it's a loot box and loot box. You open the alpha pack to get another card, and you flip the card around to figure out what you got. And then you can even get stuff that are duplicates, and you can get stuff for characters you don't own. And it takes you so long to grind it out, and you have to win. If you don't win, you actually don't get the opportunity to get your loot box. Like every time you lose, it increases the chance by 2%, and then Eventually, you get to a point where you get to like 40%. But if you keep losing, you don't get that loot box chance. You have to wait for a win, and then it's the worst grind curve for loot. Yeah. And if you try to unlock it with the in-game currency, even the operators are like 25,000 in-game points. And if you had the standard edition, I don't know if it's different now, but before the standard edition, guys, if you bought it for $15, you had to get 50,000 points to unlock a new operator. And you started only with like one operator at the time with the standard edition. So everyone felt ripped off getting that. So the grind and the loot boxes in Rainbow Six are probably one of the most deplorable I've seen in a long time, but nobody talks about it because EA took the brunt of that.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so true. There's so many of these games, and I think that's what's so interesting and important about these games. It's like, man, all of these games, Destiny, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, they've really they're pushing the edge when it comes to shooter games about like mechanics that you can use and how you set up your game. Like, they're really innovative in a lot of different ways. And they're all so extremely tarnished with scummy business decisions and loot boxes and ways to generate revenue and RNG and no lack of content, no content.
Yeah, you can go back today and watch that E3 trailer for Rainbow Six Siege, and you're going to see a higher fidelity game. You're also going to see a female hostage that's able to move around. I don't know. Do you remember that?
No, I know. I generally avoid E3 just because of that. It's
entertaining to just to compare it. It's really interesting. I find it really funny. But aside from that, I enjoy playing the game, but you still see the scummy side of it, and it bugs you. You're like, this game could be really good, but at the same time, you see this happening. You're like, you guys don't need to do this. You have a great game, and you're ruining it.
Disappointing.
And then you have the balance. They can go on about the balancing. Like, recently, they released the Lion character, who is probably the most ridiculous character they've ever released. But they are nerfing him soon. So
I heard. Actually, I think I just saw on Twitter that there was a patch today, or it's coming out this week, that is nerfing Lion.
Yeah,
who's Lion?
They need to nerf him. It's too ridiculous. Do you know what he does, right?
No, what does he do?
His ability.
I haven't touched it. All right,
he has
in a little while. Yeah.
Imagine you're fighting in a paper mache box. And now there's a hero or operator that can use 3 times in one round, which is plenty, because these rounds don't last a whole lot of time.
No.
So he can, for 3 rounds, use his special ability, which has this drone in the air, and it'll count down. It'll let you know he's using the ability. You'll get this notification, 3, 2, 1, boom, it starts, and you're playing a game of red light, green light. If you get caught moving while his ability is activated, you have a red silhouette around you no matter where you are. He can see you through the walls. So the play style you see a lot of good Lion players do is they'll find you first, on the defenders first. They'll figure out where they are, where they're camping, activate it, and then even if he doesn't move, he can't move. So they know he's there prior. So because I had someone tell me, oh, you can counter it by not moving. No. That's what he wants.
Not moving is death in this game, especially if they know where you are. Yeah. I see.
So they use a drone, they find you, or they team up with another operator like Jackal. A lot of pro players are using Jackal and Lion together because Jackal can find footsteps and start pinging someone's location. Then Lion will then use his ability after he does the ping, so that person who got pinged can't move. They know where he is, and then they just set up a crossfire.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah, anyone who moves, and the only real way to kind of counter it is if you have a mute on your team and you're standing on a jammer, and that's still not a lot of movement.
It's just like it's just like every single MMO. They come up with a new champion, and it's just like, okay, well that champion's absolutely broken.
Yeah, until they get
so strong, and they do that on purpose so that you buy the new champion. And then they'll nerf it later once they've made all their money. Yeah, scummy. It's too bad. Because
they should have just taken the Overwatch approach with their system. Give everyone all the characters, and then just have their skin market.
I mean, yes.
Just give them give everyone all the operators. Because if you think about it competitively,
it's worked
with Rainbow
Overwatch,
Six,
no doubt.
Yeah. If you look at it competitively for Rainbow Six Siege, how is it exactly fair that someone with all the operators versus someone that has maybe a few in a ranked match, it makes it harder for the one with the few to counter the guy with all of them.
Right.
Because certain operators counter the others.
Yep.
So, yeah. And the grind to do it without paying, actual money is ridiculous. You're going to be spending all week unlocking maybe 1 or 2 operators.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh boy, dude, I love it. The salt is starting to come out.
I can't help it. I like the game. I want the game to be successful. So
Yeah.
I have to critique some of these things that I just think are silly.
Yeah. No, I do think it's. I guess I'll close out. Didn't I already say I was going to close it out at this point? Well, okay. We'll
I
close
don't know.
out with this point.
I can keep you going if you want.
Yeah. No. We'll start angling towards the end here. But I will close out this point. Talking about these three games. I'm talking about scummy business practices and releasing a bare bones game and just saying, oh no, we're going to add all this stuff later on. Like I said, it's bad. It's bad for consumers. It's really bad for us gamers. Innovation, of course, is good, right? Innovation when it comes to these games and what they're trying to do that's different is great. But you know, and I guess I would encourage anybody listening to this, you know, to. And I don't want to attack anybody. I'm not going to say, oh, you're a horrible person if you spent money on Rainbow Six Siege or whatever, right? But I would encourage you to understand that your money really matters.
Just pay attention to what you're doing. Just pay attention.
Really
Like if you bought that $15 starter pack and then you want to buy more operators and you spend another $30, that's fair. That's what, $45. But if you've already paid $60 like I had, and now you have to spend another $100 unlocking operators or just skins and stuff like that, that's getting a little much. You start spending $200-$300. Sure, you can say you want to support the game, but there's this overarching point where some people can't do that, and that's what's contributing to this domino effect. With
right, and your money that you're spending, you know, and obviously you can spend your own money however you want, but the money you are spending is encouraging, and the money you're not spending is discouraging business practices, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, if you're spending money on Overwatch skins or League of Legends skins, to be fair, League of Legends, right, this is completely free to play, and you can buy all those skins and you can unlock all the characters by just playing the game, you know. And there's a couple other games that do it okay,
and it's a free to play model.
Yeah,
not a buy to play.
Exactly. And you didn't pay anything. You didn't pay $60 for the base League of Legends thing. You get the game for free. Yeah. The stuff you spend your money on is encouraging the company to keep doing what they're doing there. So just keep that in mind, that your one person individual wallet and the things you spend your money on really matters. It really matters. You can't say, oh, if there's such a big company, Ubisoft, and my $15 don't matter. It does matter. It matters. The things you do individually, personally, they do matter. Because that is the way the gaming market works, because of all the effect that can have on other people, and you don't know how many other people are struggling with the exact same decision to make of whether they should or shouldn't pay it. So you deciding can be the thing that tips the scales. You don't know. And so well, I think it's fair to say, yeah, we hope for the best for all these three games. and future innovative games as well, but pretty disappointing showing so far for the game itself. For Destiny, The Division, and Rainbow Six, certainly still a good game, but oh boy, can you say scummy / possibly predatory pricing practices for those ones. Oh man! All right, well, make sure you let us know your real biased opinions below. What do you guys think about Destiny 2, The Division, Rainbow Six? Do you think some of the price points are fine? Do you still play Destiny 2? Do you still play The Division? Obviously, there's still plenty of people playing Rainbow Six. But love to hear your thoughts in response to some of the things we've talked about today on those three games. So, JC, dude, what are you going to be streaming this next week? We'll actually start winding it down here. What are you going to be streaming this next week?
Tonight, I'll definitely be doing the D&D thing. That's every Monday, just as a reminder. This week, I might be throwing in some Dark Souls 3. I might buy a new game. There's definitely going to be some Worlds Adrift. I think pretty soon that game's going to be coming out with some sort of like beta or early access. It's been closed for a long time. So if you haven't heard of Worlds Adrift, just put it in Google, figure it out. Basically, it's a crafting sky battle airship game. It's pretty cool. It's neat. It's different. And you get cool little grapple hooks. So shout out for that game. Yeah, Overwatch, Rainbow Six, Black Desert Online, and I'm waiting for Bless Online as well. I'm a hodgepodge of everything.
Hey, okay. When do you usually stream?
I usually stream between 9 to 5 during the week, and weekends are unscheduled evening streams. I may not or may stream on the weekends. I don't know. It really depends what I need to get done.
Okay. And that's Pacific Standard Time, correct?
Yes.
Cool. And then shout out one more time, where can we find you?
You can find me at Twitch as JCexe, and you can find my YouTube channel, which is also YouTube/C/JCexe, and then on Twitter with EXE_JC.
Perfect. And once again, my name is James. Real Bias Gaming, twitch.tv/Real Bias Gaming, youtube.com/Real Bias Gaming, and twitter.com/Real Bias. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been the Real Biased Podcast. Keep the opinions coming, and we will see you next time.